choose 9 exercises followed by some conditioning. We can either perform HIIT training or long, slow duration training. So we're gonna first pick out our 9 exercises. The first thing before the circuit workout is foam roll, dynamic warm up, and then your power work. Okay, so make sure that you have your mobility, stability, dynamic, power. So 1, 2, 3, and then you're gonna go into your circuit workout. You're gonna combine 3 exercises or trisets. So those are 3 exercises. You have an A, a B, and a C. You have a lower body, upper body, and a core exercise. So you're gonna choose lower body, upper body, then a core. You're gonna perform that in a triset, or you can chop off those into individual sets if you need breaks in between that. So that's what we mean by a circuit workout. And then we'll take about a 1 to 2 minute rest in between each different pod. So each pod has 3 components. Okay, just like pee in a pod. Okay, so we have our 3 pods, A pod, B pod, and C pod. First, decide your lower body exercise, whether it's a knee dominant or a hip dominant exercise. So is it more quad based or hamstring or glute based? So either the back side or the front side. So if you're hitting quad dominant, you're gonna think squats, you're gonna think split squat, you're gonna think one leg squat, supported one leg squat. You could do a reverse lunge, a forward lunge, continuous lunges. Those things would be on quad dominant. Now hip dominant would be more glute and hip. Hamstring focus, you could also think adductors. So a wide stance horse squat, a lateral squat, those things would be more adductors. And then if you're thinking more backside and hamstring and glute, you're thinking more single leg deadlift, Romanian deadlift, split stance deadlift, regular deadlift, any type of bridging on your back or hip lifts. Those are also Nordic hamstrings. Those things are all going to be considered hip dominant exercises. So you have your knee dominant and hip dominant exercises. We'll classify the horse stance squat and the lateral squat in the knee dominant because you're getting more quad. And we'll put the hip lifts in the hip dominant because you're getting more glute. So we're going to start with our lower body exercise. Our first one is going to be squat focus. So we're going to perform the one leg squat variation. For the upper body, you want to think upper body push or upper body pull. That can happen in the horizontal or the vertical plane, so there's 4 different categories there to choose from. So you just want to make sure that you're splitting them up evenly in between your workout and your individual workout. So Monday, Wednesday, Friday, making sure if you start with squat on Monday, you start with a hip dominant exercise on Wednesday, and then maybe you switch up to a upper body exercise on Friday as opposed to always starting with lower body. So switching it up, and also switching either push-pull, vertical or horizontal pull, or going from knee or hip dominant. So if we're squat for lower body, upper body we're going to do a push. For the core, you have anti-rotation, anti-lateral flexion, diagonal core, sit-up core, and then you also have your extension exercises. So there's 4 different categories for core, and we're hitting only 3 in each day, so you can choose, just try to hit one of those 4 in each of your pods. So we'll go anti-extension, and then we're gonna have, you can also add in diagonal like chopping. Then we're gonna have lower body, so we went squat here, so we're gonna go hip dominant here. So we're gonna go SLDL. Upper body is gonna be instead of a push, it'll be a pull. This will be a vertical push, and this is gonna be a horizontal pull. Okay, or this could be a horizontal, depending, or incline. Then our core for this one is gonna be anti-rotation. And then for our lower body and our third pod, we're gonna go with a lateral squat. And then with our upper body movement, we're gonna perform another press, so whatever we don't do, so if it's horizontal or vertical, we're gonna switch it up. So push, horizontal or vertical. And then for our core, we're gonna go diagonal. So that's gonna be our chop or our lift. So whatever we do today, we'll do differently the next day, okay? So that's our first day workout. For our conditioning, we're gonna go 10 on, 20 off. And that's gonna be on the bike, and we're gonna go for 8 rounds, okay? So I'm gonna take you through each of these exercises. If you haven't already warmed up and performed your mobility stability drills, I will go over a quick warm up before we start, okay? So let me get you set up here. So, for our lower body exercises, we're going to be using a box. So if you don't have a box, think about a chair maybe, possibly. You'll need that today if you're going to try that single leg squat. If not, don't worry about it. You can just do a bilateral squat to either a box or a chair. We're going to start with a quick little warm up. So I'm going to go over all the essentials of your foam rolling. So it'll be a quick foam rolling guide. We're going to go over each part about 5 times, and then we're going to move to the other body part or the next body part. All right, so right now we're just foam rolling the calves. If you feel some tenderness or any tension, sometimes you want to just hold that area. You can also circulate the ankle while you're doing that. I like to get the inside, just making sure that you're moving up and down, or just kind of scanning that area for tension and then kind of pressing into that tension. Working our way up to the glutes. Cross one leg over the leg we just crossed. We want to lean into that hip. Again, moving up and down, scanning that hip for an area of tension. Breathing as we do this. You can also straighten the leg out and rock from the top of the hamstring to the glute. Then we'll switch side. So sometimes you can just lean into the hip and glute. You feel some good pressure. Okay, if it's not hard enough, you might not feel it. If it's too soft, you won't be able to roll. You'll just sink into the roller. So making sure you have the right roller, and if you want to skip the foam rolling, just fast forward the video. Okay, and from here, we're going to move to the lower back. I like to take a couple inhales and exhales before I do anything. And then I like to place one foot underneath my knee and open up my hip. Focus on my breathing. Inhale and exhale. Then switch side. I like this. It's a hip opener. It also presses into that lower back. And I can't really support it with research, but it definitely feels great for the lower back. From here, we're going to move up to the upper back. Again, if you want to skip the foam rolling, just fast forward. We're going to bring the elbows together. You're going to extend the back up into the upper neck, the neck traps, mid back, and then back. You're going to roll forward and back here. Again, scanning that area for tension. Angling the body any way needed to provide any type of stimulus that you feel like is appropriate. So if this doesn't feel good, then don't do it. If it feels good, keep doing it. Work those areas that feel like they need to be worked. Then we're going to get the lats. I'm going to get underneath. I'm going to go from chest to back. I'll do that about 2 to 3 times, and then I'll go up and down. I'll rotate the shoulder and bend the elbow, kind of press into those tight areas up and around that armpit. And then from here, switch to sides. Okay, going side to side. If one side is a little bit tighter than the other, then you might want to spend a little bit more time there. But you don't want to spend too much time doing this before your workout because you'll take too long. So you have to be really calculated and really get the most out of each second that you're pressing into it, because you're not going to be here that long. Same with all your exercises, just kind of taking them all one by one. Alright, then from here, inside of the thigh, kind of draping the leg over, hitting the inside of the thigh all the way to the middle thigh, all the way to the inside. And then moving from knee all the way to hip. And then if you find an area of tension, you can just hold that area, breathe into it, move around it, move beside it, and, kind of work your way into and around that tissue. It's kind of, you have to learn how to do it. Otherwise, you don't get any benefits. So, switching side, again, pressing. The only time you really need to do this is before workout, because if you don't do anything after to follow it up, that's not going to be good either. So if you do foam rolling or any massage, try to follow up with some type of exercise. So that's why I typically only do it before my workouts. Unless it's just really needed, but I haven't had that problem. I think this is more of a, because you're stimulating what they call a Golgi tendon organ, GTO. When that happens, it supposedly allows for a little bit more range of motion. And that helps people get into those deep positions or end ranges without feeling so much joint compensation. And when people get that relief, it makes them feel good. We're gonna get the quad now. Getting the quad and the outside quad. The front quad and the outside. Ooh, man. Ooh. Now we're going to do a little bit of stretching. Once we're done with that, get to our dynamic warm-up, show you those exercises, or you can just skip through. From here, open up this front foot, and then rock forward, getting a back hip stretcher, flex, hip flexor stretch. Both sides, try to stay active. Kind of moving in and out of these stretches. out the hip. Move to the back. Go with supine hamstring. A couple inhales and exhales as you rotate the ankle. Switch. And from here, rotator. Switch. You can bring the bottoms of the feet together, open up the knees, and then pull toward the upper, the chest here. Relax from here. Leg lowers on an exhale. Start with the knees at 90. Big exhale. Keep the head down. As you exhale, lower. From here, heels dig into the ground, toes up, hips up, hold. Breathe. Come down. One more time, up, hold. Down. One leg, both sides. Good. From here, push your way up. The hands and knees. Cat cow around the back. Tuck the chin. Arch the back and look up. Around the back. Arch the back. Around the back. The downward dog stretch for the calves, scapula activation here, and upward. What we got? Elevation here of the scap. You're gonna get in a push-up position, slowly lower down. If it's too much, bring your knees down. And from here, tee up the arms. We're going to just open up the rotator cuff so that we're getting a stretch in the shoulder. And then switch. From here, we'll bring those palms next to our side. We're going to lift up as high as we can, our chin, and hold. And then reach overhead. And forearms down. Tuck those toes. From here, push into child pose. Head down. Thumbs up. Good. Okay. From here, we're going to go into a sunbird. Hold, opposite arm, opposite leg, reach, and hold. And then switch. Okay. Then from here, just the knees off the ground, round the upper back. And we're going to tap the shoulder without moving the hips. And relax. From here, we'll perform our adductor stretch. Point those toes, knees wide. Lengthen one leg, rock back. Split. tells you rock back. Here, just gonna kneel and just sit on those ankles. Knees elevated if you want to make it harder, or if you want to make it easier, bring this underneath your butt, like this. From here, get into a combat position for our ankle, rocking the knee over the toe, and then rocking back. And switch. Make sure you're gripping the ground with your toe. Now we're going to get into a squat position. Breathe. You can rotate here. And then stand up. Okay. Now we're going to perform, if you're dizzy, go to a half kneeling position. If you're not dizzy, just stand and hold. Okay. We're going to first start with a knee pull to the chest, the bottom foot, point the toe. We're going to go for 4 on each side. Okay, now we're going to go leg cradle. Okay, we're going to go again, 4 on each side. Get this back a little. It's going to look like this. Okay, now heel to butt, reach as you hinge. Try not to fall like I did. Just 2 on each side. Okay, now you're gonna march in place. Thumb at the chin, knee to hip, toes up, pound the ground. Stand up tall, like you're being measured. Okay, there's your march. You're gonna turn that march into a high knee run. Then we're going to turn the march into a skip. So start by marching and then skip in place. Okay, now we're going to try the same thing. We're going to try to march laterally. Side to side while you're marching, but keeping those knees as high as the hips, keeping those toes up, and keeping that opposite arm thumb to chin. Those are the toughest components of marching, because a lot of times you'll see the knees circling like this, or the arms circling like this. Gotta get everything going. Okay, now we're a little bit warmed up. Gonna perform a little bit of power chopping with some plates. Okay, so whether you have a 10-pound plate or a medicine ball, we're going to start in the split stance position. The right foot forward, left foot back. We're gonna reach to our left side, reach over our right side of our head. Okay, so my right foot's forward, left foot's back. Okay. each side. Woo. Those can be challenging for me, especially with balance. Then I'm going to perform a squat jump. So I'm going to get into a squat position, hands back, and then reach up as I jump, okay? I'm gonna go over 3 reps. Make sure that you don't hit anything above you. Okay, now I'm gonna go to a lateral bear crawl. Okay, so I get in the push-up position, and then I'm gonna cross one arm over as I step to that side with the opposite foot in hand, and then opposite foot in hand. There's your bear crawl. Okay, so that would be considered a power set before our strength, and after your dynamic, you do your power. So over foam roll, stretch, stability, dynamic, power, strength, conditioning. That's the order. That is the recipe, okay? Now I can put some music on. So taking a minute break as you should in between sets, normal. Come on. Come on. Come on. Come on. Really? Please. Please, please, Whew. All right, here we go. So we just finished the power set, which is Wow, 30 minutes into the workout, this is how you should feel. Perfect. You've just done all your warm-ups and your power work. You're about to do your strength, then your conditioning. So you should be like feeling really warm right now, heart rate around 120 at least. You know, getting ready for that next set, trying to get your heart rate down to 100. You know, take about another minute before you start pod 1. Remember, we talked about pod 1 in the beginning. It's gonna be a squat, a push, and a core. And then it's gonna be a hinge, a pull, and a core, and then another squat pattern, push pattern, and then a core pattern. So we'll lay out those patterns once we get there, and you can use different options if you need them. Okay, so find a box that gets about 90 degrees, or try to get your femur or your thigh parallel with the ground. So when I touch, I get about parallel with the ground and then stand up. So for beginners, you may need to elevate your heels with a heel board, or you may need a higher box or bench. So we're gonna tap and go. We're not gonna sit, lean back and go. It's not gonna look like this. Okay, it's gonna look like this. Tap and go, okay? You can hold the weight in front of you or in front of you. Sorry, you can hold the weight in a bear hold or in a straight arm hold, okay? So it would look like this from side. Okay, or okay, so that's option 1. Option 2, you can focus on your split squat for 3 to 5 reps on each side. It's going to be a tap and go. You can use a pad for your knee. Okay. You can use dumbbells to progress that, or a front-loaded goblet style position with a kettlebell. Now I'm going to show you the one leg squat, which goes after the rear foot elevated split squat. Okay, it's called the one leg squat. So I'm going to try to balance on one leg as I squat, reaching the ball out. Okay, now I may need to elevate that bottom leg if I feel like my other hip is getting in the way, or I'm not able to hold my leg off the ground. Okay, so there's your knee pattern. Again, you could also do reverse lunges here, forward lunges. Okay, but those again are going to be very stressful. So option 1, goblet squat to box. Option 2, goblet split squat. Option 3, rear foot elevated. Option 4, lunges. Option 5, one leg squat. Okay. For your push pattern, I'm going to show you 2 different push patterns. Okay. I'm going to show you the dumbbell and the incline press. I'm going to show you the dumbbell press. Okay. From here, you want to get the weights from the rack. You don't want to pick up the weights from where you're at, because you could injure your back. So if you have back pain, pick them up from the rack each time. From here, get your butt at the forward end of the bench, and we're going to slowly go back, one vertebrae at a time. Knees will support, and then try to get into that push position as soon as you get here. From here, we're going to slowly come down in the most comfortable range, and then press up. Pressing the heels into the ground, squeeze the glutes. Now if your head is going over the bench like mine is, you'll have to reset up. Move again forward, Try not to slide back. Make sure elbows aren't teed out like this. And make sure elbows aren't in too close. You want about in between, like an arrow. You can obviously increase the load, or you can change the exercise by alternating the press. Okay, you can also do one arm presses, where you have to use your core and shoulder stability to perform that exercise. Okay, now if you don't have dumbbells, start with your bench push-up. Making sure that you're going for that perfect push-up position, which is a straight body from head to heel. Okay. Then advancing to a push-up hold plank for 10 to 20 seconds. And then getting at the bottom of your plank and pushing into the ground for 10 to 20 seconds without going off the ground. After you've been able to do that, can you do 1 or 2 push-ups? So going down as slow as you can, pressing up as fast as you can. Okay? So any type of pushing in the horizontal plane motion would be the second exercise. For core, we're going to perform anti-extension. So that can be done in the form of a plank. That can also be done in a side plank. Or sorry, not a side plank, but a plank rollout, like an ab rollout. Okay? You can make that plank dynamic, or you can make it still. So option 1, your forearm plank. Set up with your forearms and knees on the ground, tuck your pelvis. We don't want the butt up. Curl the pelvis down around the upper back. Tuck those toes into the ground, and then straighten out the knees. Keep the upper back rounded, squeeze the glutes, look straight down. And about 5 to 6 inhales and exhales. You can increase the challenge of bringing 1 foot off the ground or 1 arm off the ground. So that's pod 1. Okay. Pod 2, we're going to perform a single leg deadlift, a row or a pull down, and then a anti-rotation exercise. Okay. So grabbing a dumbbell or a kettlebell, what we want to do is stand, feet under the hips, looking straight ahead. We're going to tee out 1 arm. We're going to lower the bell almost on top of the big toe. Try to get our body parallel with the ground. And then stand up. Try to hold that position for about a second before rising. Okay, if that doesn't work, you can also perform just the deadlift. With 2 legs. Okay, and this is how it will look on the other side. And we're going to go for about 5 on each side. And we can regress this exercise by performing either a single leg reach, which is challenging the same muscles. Okay? Single leg reach. And if you want to progress that, you can reach all the way to the side, in front, and outside. Okay? So, if that doesn't work out, you can perform hip lifts on your back with your toes up for 10-second holds for 3 reps. Okay, if the single leg deadlift doesn't work. Okay? Now we do our anti-rotation exercise, which is going to be a plank clock. So you get in a push-up position. Then I'm gonna reach out, with both hands, forward, down, and then back out. So 12 o'clock, 6, 6, 3, 9. Okay. You can also get in the bear plank position and tap the opposite shoulder. Do that with the knees on the ground, make it easier. Or you can do a wide leg plank hold tap. That would be your anti-rotation exercise for pod 2 or B. For pod C, we're going to perform another push, but we're going to go overhead press instead of horizontal. And then we're going to perform I think we have a lateral squat for the first exercise. So we'll start with that. Feet are wide, about 4 feet apart. You're going to reach forward as you bend one knee and keep the opposite knee straight. You can hold weight. You can hold one dumbbell here, or here, or here. Okay, progressing that. You can alternate to make it harder. You can also step out to make it the hardest. Because you have control for eccentric loading, lengthening, in a fast. So that's your lateral squat, your next knee down exercise. You can also perform the horse squat with weight, goblet, or holding it here for about 5 to 8 reps. Okay, so 3 to 5 reps on each side for the lateral squat, and then about 5 to 8 reps for the horse squat. For the upper body exercise, we're going to perform overhead press. So getting in a half kneeling position, pressing with the opposite arm. Trying not to arch the back or round the back. Sit up nice and straight, okay? That hurts the knees. You could just do it standing. Okay? Or you could do an incline press on a bench, or an incline standing landmine press, or half kneeling landmine incline press. So those would be all your options for that second exercise. For the third, it's going to be side plank, anti-lateral flexion. We'll do long lever, press into the ground, look straight ahead, 3 to 5 inhales and exhales. If that doesn't work, bent knee, short lever. And you can option to reach forward and pull if you want. So you can pull, push and pull, or bend those knees. That's going to be your anti-lateral flexion. Okay. You could also perform a single arm carry for about 20 yards with about 20% of the max weight you can actually hold in one arm. So you can hold a 100-pound dumbbell, and I'll go 20 pounds. Or sorry, I'll go 40% your max hold. You can hold 100-pound dumbbells, let's say 40 pounds. You can only hold 80, maybe go a little bit lighter. One arm carry, tee out the opposite arm, you're gonna get that anti-lateral flexion. You can also perform a pail-off press with a band or a cable, or a pail-off chop, going all the way up and all the way down with a cable or a band, okay? So those are the 3 pods of exercises. Go back to the beginning to see how we set it up. So you see how we did that, and you can always interchange the exercises and options that I gave you and perform a 3-day workout the way we talked about in the beginning of class. Now we perform the bike 10 on, 20 off, 8 rounds, or we can go 20 minutes long, slow duration walk or bike. All right, take it easy.